Hey guys, I have two chorus units that I want to show off today that I really like. I just got these. I paid for them with my own money. I had some Amazon gift cards and yeah, so it was great that these were in stock. I've been wanting them for a while, especially this one. This one as well, but yeah, we'll go over why I wanted them and do some demos. So this unit here is the Nux UKIYO-E chorus, which is a emulation of two Japanese choruses and an American style one. I have the American style one here, the Mxr stereo chorus. This will do mono in and stereo out. And this is an emulation of the TC Electronic. I believe its acronym is the SCF, which stands for Stereo Chorus Flanger. I wanted a real SCF, but they always seem to be out of stock when I have money to buy one. So I got this, which, yeah. Both these cost less than the real one of this. So yeah, that's cool. They're $80 a piece, and they absolutely sound fantastic. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making a video right now. So what got me excited on this one is it has an Arion NCH-1 mode. I had the -Z a long time ago, and it kind of just like disintegrated because it was plastic and it had some really bad solder joints, and it was really cheap at the time. It sounded really good. But this is the one, which I think the difference is the LFO is a little faster. This also does the CE1 emulation, and a really good one. I had a CE2W with a CE1 mode. It just didn't take hot signal, so I didn't really keep it around. Also, for my, this is my favorite analog chorus. It's just better than a CE2W, and this takes hot signals, so that's kind of why I got rid of the CE2W. Now, I kind of sometimes need that sound, and I was using the Universal Audio, the Astra, for that, and that does a good job as well. I made a video about that quite a while ago, but yeah. So let's get into it. So my signal chain is pretty simple. Got the jx-08 going mono into these. These will do stereo. I will do a separate part of this where it'll be in stereo. Just be warned that this does phase inversion stereo, so if you sum to mono, the effect disappears. Yeah, so that's a big deal. The chorus that this can do, the stereo chorus, this one right here, this does the same thing. This is based around phase inversion for the stereo field, and the real thing that this is based on also does phase inversion. It's just a cheaper way of doing it. In DSP, they could have done it fully digital, but I guess they wanted to keep the spirit of the originals. Now the CE1 did it direct, and I don't know if the CE1 did have stereo out. It might have. I think it was just direct and affected signal, so that's also a type of stereo I don't like. But these do sound great in phase inverted stereo, so we'll get to that eventually. So here's the unaffected signal. I think this synth absolutely sounds fantastic. It also has the Juno 6 chorus as the default chorus in here. It has other choruses, but in mono, the chorus still sounds really good. So that's the built-in chorus, and now we'll go here. We'll do the Mxr stereo chorus first. Everything is set to noon. We'll hear what that sounds like. Now if we turn up the intensity here, this is where it really shines. Off again. And I think that absolutely sounds lovely. Has a little bit of flanginess to it, which the real thing does. And the funny thing is I'm running this in mono, even though it's called the stereo chorus. I use this in mono all the time too, because again of the phase inversion on the output when you run it in stereo. So yeah, these are my favorite settings right around here. Here for the rate. You can hear that flanginess, but yeah, it's a lovely chorus. So the other thing is this has tap tempo, and to engage that is pretty easy. You just kind of tap, and now, yeah, that alpha goes crazy. To get out of tap tempo, you do this, and if you wait long enough, it just becomes normal bypass. So yeah, it does have tap tempo. Yeah, so I don't generally use the tap tempo, but yeah, it does have it. All right, so let's go to the stereo, the Arion, the NCH-1, and now this becomes a tone control. So let's go noon again, off. So what made the Arion pretty famous is the fact that it could emulate a Leslie because the LFO is really fast. I had the Z, and I don't remember the Z getting all that fast with the LFO. So I think that's the major difference, but yeah. So now the intensity control becomes a tone control. But it only affects the chorus. I believe on the real unit, the tone control affects the full signal going through it. I like it affecting the chorus only. So yeah. One thing I should notice that the Mxr stereo chorus emulation on this doesn't have a the equalization controls. They're all set to noon in this version of it, which is fine. That's usually where I set it on here. All right, so yeah, I think the Arion sounds really, really good. It can get pretty lush. You get it to wide, you get the rate down. In normal use, I haven't engaged the tap, but when I'm demoing it, I do quite a bit. Tone right around there, and that's where I like it. Maybe a little less rate. Again, off. Fantastic. Let's compare here. Not that much different. It's a little less intense here. Now let's go to the CE1 emulation, which is absolutely gorgeous on this unit. All right, we'll go noon again. Off. Accidentally engaged tap tempo again. Oh geez, yeah. So again, when demoing it, that's where I've had the problem. In normal use, I haven't. Let's turn up the intensity and the width all the way. That's how I like the sound. And that's beautiful. You noticed I have the space echo here, and I'm going to engage that really quick with the CE emulation. And yeah, so this doesn't create a stereo image at all. I'm going to use this in the stereo side when we do some stereo testing because this is true stereo. It'll totally delay a stereo signal. You'll hear that later, but yeah. So here, I have some wow and flutter going here because what's a tape delay without wow and flutter? I only have one head engaged. So yeah, we'll add this now, and this is going to be amazing. Again in the CE1 mode. Let's switch back to the Arion. Go to the where I like it again, right around here. That's with the delay. Flat and lifeless. Engage this. It just sounds like the synth is just like floating. And it's $80. I should mention that. It's also pink, which is absolutely fantastic. So small and pink. So great to have. I mean, I should just the insane size comparison here. Look at this compared to the stereo chorus here. It's like 3 of these can fit in the same space. All right, and that was what I really like about this unit. And now let's switch over to this one, which emulates the TC Electronic stuff. I'm going to turn off the delay. Again, drive. All right, by default, this is in the standard chorus mode. And let's go all noon here. Intensity, let's just do that. Off. That's lovely as well. That's amazing. At this point, I don't think I'm gonna actually get the real unit. Maybe I will just for the fun of it, but I don't need it. This just sounds great. I should mention these are stereo out and stereo in with TRS splitters, so that's something that a lot of the originals don't have. So obviously this is stereo out, but it's only mono in because it, like I said, it does the phase inversion thing, and it's just. Yeah, most of these courses it emulates are only, actually all of them are just mono in, stereo out. These can do stereo in, stereo out. Perfect for a synth setup anywhere in your signal chain. So, yeah, that's the standard chorus. I'm going to turn it up the way, I just love having the width and intensity up on pretty much all choruses. Compare it to the internal chorus, which is the Juno 6 chorus. This does tap tempo as well, so you get out of it the same way. This is much brighter compared to the Juno 6 chorus. I got the June 6, by the way. I'll be doing a video on that soon. It's both awesome and disappointing, the TC Electronic June. Is it the 60 or the 6? It's the 60, but yeah. Okay, let's go back to this. Yeah, I love that. That's just great. So let's go to the other modes. So the next mode is called pitch modulation, which the intensity control is supposed to affect something, but I've noticed that the intensity control in this mode just doesn't seem to do anything. Maybe they left it out of the firmware. I should mention these are firmware upgradable, and these have USB-C. I don't want to really flip that over. That's going to be a problem if I try. But yeah, these have USB-C to firmware update. So intensity is supposed to do something, but here, you can hear. It really does nothing in this mode. It's supposed to mix the difference between the vibrato and coursing effect. Maybe they forgot to in the firmware. Either way, this isn't my favorite mode. My favorite mode is just the standard chorus. So let's go back to that. So with the intensity and the speed and width. But it has a flanger, and the flanger sounds great too. And the flanger, the intensity obviously works in that because that's the feedback control. So let's do this. We'll turn the width up. We'll just go noon again, because why not? And there we go. We hear the flanger. If I turn the intensity up, it gets really intense. Turn the width up. That's a little too much for me. I usually keep it around here for flanging. And let's add delay to that. That's a good sounding flanger too, and I happen to really like flangers. I own quite a few, and that's not a bad sounding one out of them. I don't quite like it as much as the MXR 134, but it has a different sound to it. So let's go back to the chorus. We'll turn it to the way I like the chorus, and we'll listen to it through the delay. So off. Just with the delay. Little wound flutter. That's just amazing. Now to the pitch modulation. I kind of like that mode. I just don't understand what the intensity is doing. Maybe it's super subtle. I didn't notice the intensity doing anything in stereo either. I've heard the real thing, some demos on the real thing, and the intensity does do something in the pitch modulation. Maybe they forgot to add it in the firmware. Who knows? This control's not broken. There's no quality control issue. It works in all the other modes. Since it's completely digital, that doesn't make a difference. It's reading the values of it. It's not doing anything with those. Yeah. It has good bass response too. It doesn't add a bunch of bass like the Juno chorus does. But it also doesn't give them away all that much either. So yeah, that's these in mono, and I'm going to use them in mono. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of phase-inverted stereo outputs. Phase-inverted stereo can sound super wide, super lush, and awesome, but it has a problem when you sum it to mono. In the next part, it's coming up here really quick. I will switch these out. I'll do one individually each, and we'll do stereo out, mono in, stereo out. Again, they can do stereo in and stereo out as well, but yeah, we'll do that. All right, be right back in a second. I am back with a stereo setup now, and I have this pedal out now because I'm going to do these individually, but now you can see what it looks like. Yeah, so in order to turn on stereo in and stereo out, what you do is you hold this switch, for instance, and you plug it in, and then it'll blink. It has the information on the side, which is really nice, so you'll never forget it. And yeah, here's that USB-C port. USB-C, that's just great. Everybody should be using that right now, but yeah. So I have this set in mono mode, which means it'll do mono in, but it'll always do stereo out. These always do stereo out regardless. It just matters what the input is expecting. So here's the signal again. You should be listening in stereo right now. If you have some kind of device that sums to mono, you will not hear a proper chorus signal. I'm just warning you now. So yeah, here. That's actually an insanely good stereo image. Again, it's phase inverted, so it has problems summing to mono. Some reverbs and things like that do that, it'll have a problem with. So yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, let's just go through the modes again. The Arion. Let's turn down the tone. That one's actually really good in stereo. That's a little too fast, but right around there. You kind of do a Leslie. And now let's go to the CE. Let's do it the way I like it. A little more intensity there. Or, I'm sorry, rate. Off. And let's add a delay to that now. Again, this keeps the stereo image intact. It may not add its own, at least in the standard echo mode. It does the reverb adds stereo image, but I don't like the reverb in this. That's the reason I kept the RE2 around. When I need a proper true stereo delay, that's tape. Just listen to that. That's the CE1 mode. Let's go back to the Arion, which is like one of the reasons I got this. Let's turn the rate down here. Just gorgeous. All right. Now switching over to the SCF. And yeah, you'll see me in a second. All right. So I'm back now with the stereo mode on the Mini Super Chorus here. Yeah. So hold on. Oh, I accidentally stuck that into tap tempo. All right. Let's turn that off of tap tempo. Off. You already heard it on, but. Again, this sounds amazing. Let me turn up the intensity and width. Now the pitch mode. And now the flanger, which now the intensity is all the way up, so you'll get a lot of feedback. Turn the flanger to where I like it. And let's start the tape delay with just that. Now to the chorus side. We'll turn the intensity and width all the way up. Pitch mod. Off again. Let's go back to my favorite mode, which is the chorus. Fantastic. Really good stereo image. Again, it is phase inverted. I can't stress that enough. That is problematic if you sum to mono. That is the only way it's going to be really problematic. Or if you have a device. Like, let's say you put out a song and somebody's listening to it on a device with one speaker and the device somehow automatically not somehow, just that's how the summing works in the operating system of the device, and it just sums to mono. That chorus will be gone. So yeah, it's kind of a problem, and especially if you feed that into a reverb that sums to mono for the reverb tank, there will be no chorusing in the reverb tank. The dry-through should be fully chorused, but yeah, it causes issues. So if you can 100% guarantee that you're running it into a situation where that won't happen, the phase inverted stereo on these kind of pedals, including the Mxr 134, go back to my video on this thing if you want to know about that. But yeah, it can sound gorgeous, but it becomes a problem when you have to go to a mono source. You have to think of your audience if you're putting out music. It's like, hey, are you going to be listening with just a mono source or something, or output, for instance? So yeah, it's just something to be aware of. I really, really love the phase inverted output on it. Like, I keep saying I don't because it's problematic, but then you hear the sound and it's great because it's so wide and big. You can do that with a delay that has 2 taps where you can phase invert. People used to do that with, I believe it's the SDD 2000 and 3000, which had phase inversion. You'd run 2 of them, and you'd have each side a different phase, and you would get a massive stereo image out of it. But you have to take into account, again, the summing to mono that certain devices can do. If that's not your audience and you're just doing it for fun, or if you're in a live situation where you have like 2 stereo or like 2 speakers out and you know it's a fully stereo environment, then go for it. It's beautiful. So yeah, that's kind of my overview on these two. It's a long video by this point, but I legitimately like these two. They're $80 a pop. So basically 2 of these equals a fairly expensive chorus like this. I mean, I guess it's not fairly inexpensive. Chorus like this. And yeah, they do a lot. They sound great. If I didn't like them, I would have already sent them back and you wouldn't have seen a video on them. I don't know which one I like more. They're both great. They're both usable. They're both to the point where I'm almost thinking about, I don't want to sell it because I really like this chorus, the Mxr not 134. I always forget this is the 134. I got the flanger mixed up earlier. Sorry, that's the M117. Yeah, they're naming. So this is the 134. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get rid of it because I like it so much and it's just nice to have. I don't think these command all that much money. But this is a good replacement. Yeah, you don't get the full tone control in the stereo mode or the Mxr stereo mode. I've never had an original one of these. I've had a lot of the originals out of here and, well, not a real CE1, but I've had the CE2W. And I'm not even going to say kind of like in a mix this sounds good. These just sound great. This absolutely is just lush, and yeah, I don't know what else I can say more about that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this helped out. Soon I'll have a video on the June 60, which again I've said is kind of disappointing, but also kind of awesome at the same time.